This is John Young. Today we're looking at an electric dethatcher here from GreenWorks. This is their 14-inch electric dethatcher that is powered by power from your house or in a generating situation. If you have a generator, you can use that. A very cool little unit. We ended up getting this, and we've been running so crazy, I haven't even had a chance to shoot the video. We did this earlier in the season. We're getting to the point now when you hit April, May, that it's getting a little late for this, but for next year, this is something you guys want to check out. I haven't even had a chance to clean this up because we used this and we ended up doing my mother-in-law's yard and we did another spot in ours. This year probably went through about 3 acres of grass or yard that we did. But what this is a power dethatcher. Basically, it's a rake on steroids. And we'll take a look down here. On the bottom, if you can see this, we have got little teeth. And you can see that they're kind of straightened out a little bit because they have been working. A couple of them, like this one, is broken already. There's a couple of them that are broken. But most of them are, and I say broken, there's supposed to be 2, and there's only 1 here. But this little guy will kind of go and flail around as you're going through the grass. And you can set it to different heights. There's 3 height setting. One of them basically is above the grass. One of them will get down to about 1/8 of an inch, kind of dig in about 1/8 of an inch. And one will, I think, almost go down almost 1/4 inch or a little bit more than 1/4 inch. So you set your height adjustment. When you're in really dry soil and such, this is going to cause some of this where it's hitting and it's the soil is really hard, and it's going to bend the little teeth. The little teeth have got they're straight and they have a little bit of a kind of a little fingers at the end, 2 little fingers at the end, and it'll dig into things. But you can see that they're just dirty because they were out and this was being used. Easily replaced. You can take out a couple of nuts and you can take these apart. When you buy this, it comes with a bag with additional little tines, so you can replace the tines. I ended up not knowing that when I bought this, so I ended up buying another bag of it. So I have 2 bags of tines, which you can see I'm going to have to replace a couple of them for next year. But overall, after doing 3 acres, I'm going to probably replace 2 of them, it looks like, just as I'm looking at that. 2 are going to be replaced. So that's, I think the replacement bags were pennies considering what it did. We use this to go and do the front of our house. Typically, when we would go out and we would have to rake that area, that would take us anywhere from 5 to 6 hours to rake that whole area. Then I would have these things on my hands called, well, you know what that's like. We went through with this, and I think we went through the whole area, and we went through and thatched it, and then we came through with our lawn sweeper behind the riding lawnmower. I think it took me about maybe 45 minutes to an hour to run through and thatch everything. 14-inch thatcher. So yeah, you're not covering a ton of ground each time, but I didn't have to do any of this with the rake thing back and forth. When I was done with this, I wasn't dead. I would have gone through with my regular rake thing. I would have had to take a half a dozen breaks. I'd have been raking for about 6 hours straight, almost, and then to bag it up and get it out of there. In this case, I went through and thatched it. When I was done, a couple of areas I had to go and use a broom rake, but it was basically that nice, easy sweeping, not getting down in there and trying to dig out the dead grass. It was very easy to do. Swept everything up onto the tarp, moved it out of the way, came through with the rider and the bagger, the rider and the lawn sweep, swept everything up, and looked fabulous. Up at my mother-in-law's, we did a little bit differently. We went through and we did the thatching, and then we came through with the rider and the bagger and sucked everything up. And it was done within about, goodness gracious, I think it was under 2 hours we were all done with that. And that was working kind of slow at what we were doing, and it was also getting everything done around trees and everything. So it works incredibly well, and it saves a ton of time and a ton of labor from our standpoint. Now, this is powered by 110 volts, meaning it's a household outlet. You've got to make sure that one of the most critical parts of this is making sure you have enough electricity for that. I don't know if you guys can see this cord, but this is a heavier gauge cord. This is actually a winter. When they're blue, they're meant for cold temperatures. And I had picked this up. This is a heavy gauge. Ideally, you want to be using something that's around that 12, like a 12-2 or 12-3 type cord. In this particular case, I had the 12-2 here, and then I also had an additional 12. This was, I believe this is the 50, and then I also had a 12-2 that was 100 foot, and I had a 10 gauge that was 100 foot. So what we did is we used the 10 gauge 100 foot, and we went for a distance with that and used that. And once we got to the end of that cable, then we added this one. The 12 gauge one, we also tried that just to practice or see if it would work, and it worked wonderfully. If you don't have enough cord to haul the electricity, to carry the electricity to it, you'll end up basically starving the machine, and it will shut off. It'll start to get hot, and it will shut itself off. So a 12 gauge will work. the 10 gauge first, then the 12 gauge was fabulous. We went a total of 150 feet with that. We did not test it any farther than that because I didn't want to do any damage to the unit, which shouldn't happen, but I didn't want to mess. I didn't want to go pushing my luck too terribly far. 150 feet of cable from the different outlets around the houses covered everything we needed to cover. So a very nice investment. It's under $150, even with buying an extension cord. It's probably still just a little over $150 to get into this. We'll put links in the description down below. You can go and check this out. If you get lucky, you might find it during the off season, be able to find it a little bit cheaper than that. This is going to be a huge time saver in the fall when you get those matted leaves down, or in the spring when you got to get that dead grass picked up. You need to check this out, the electric dethatcher from GreenWorks. This is John Young with the Weekend Handyman. The electric dethatcher from GreenWorks. This is John Young with the Weekend Handywoman.